It started like so many do, with a traffic stop that didn't go as planned. On April 12, 2025, a driver in Pine Bluff chose to take off down 2nd Avenue rather than stick around. As the officer gave chase, both cars hit the railroad tracks near Pitts Road, and that's where things went sideways. The officer wrecked out, thankfully with only minor injuries. But the chase didn't end there. Arkansas State Police stepped in, and when they show up, it usually means the running part's about to end.
We got 643 and 4. Oh, that's one well shot. 1036. Some also going to be going on Barracue. Westbound Barracue to Foster. We're going to be a white Dodge Charger. Each one is primary and secondary. Let Pine Bluff know we got their car. These are approximately 75 to Hudson. 1016. 75 approaching Hudson. TBI. 1016.
Trooper Zachary pulled off a precise pit maneuver, bringing the suspect's car to a stop. Inside, officers found guns and drugs, confirming this wasn't someone just dodging a ticket. A light pole got taken out along the way, and electric crews were called in to fix the damage. The officers expected to recover, the car didn't make it, and the suspect's road led exactly where you'd expect, straight into custody.
35, bring the subject all 54 and 27, 54, 29.
Reckless driving usually gets attention, but this one got it fast. On I-75 in Collier County, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper spotted a gray Toyota Yaris, making a lane change so careless, it nearly caused a crash. When the car was pulled over, things escalated quickly. The smell of burnt cannabis was strong, and a K-9 unit confirmed something was off. But before the trooper could dig deeper, both the driver and a juvenile passenger jumped back into the car and sped off, leaving a taser deployment behind and launching a full pursuit.
Positive ID on the vehicle and the driver. Yeah, do you know the make and model of the vehicle? Fit 28.
A clean pit maneuver on Bonita Grande Drive brought it to an end. Inside, psilocybin mushrooms, marijuana, THC wax, and enough paraphernalia to make a dispensary blink. For the record, fleeing from FHP in a Yaris while holding an entire edible section rarely works out. Both suspects were taken in without a fight, but the excuses probably came later. When a BMW X5 flies past at 120 miles an hour and won't pull over, you know it's not just a case of someone in a hurry. That was the scene near Latson Road on April 9, 2025, when Livingston County deputies tried to stop what turned out to be a stolen SUV. Instead of yielding, the driver took off, swerving through traffic, clipping cars, and sending officers into a chase that quickly spiraled. Somewhere along the way, 2 firearms were tossed from the windows, one visibly thrown onto the highway. Whatever they were running from, it was serious and getting more dangerous by the mile.
Left lane, you almost lost it.
Going open the yard, 6043.
I think you just ran the sheriff car. Yeah, 13's with him. It's like, I'll call it 35. He's going over Spencer. Eastbound.
There, eastbound going over Spencer, 13 in there, fair play back calling, 6040 go.
You have three in pursuit now. Going westbound. Back on the ticket.
They're about 3 clear down, this is calling, 6045.
Crash. He just rear-ended the vehicle, black edge.
They're rear-ended the black edge.
Right shoulder, rear-ended. We're still continuing westbound.
They're rear-ended.
Just threw a gun out.
Just threw a gun out, 6045.
Gun out, right at the westbound on-ramp. Clear for Brighton.
Rear-ended white truck.
Rear-ended white truck, 6047. Units, be advised, I'm on with Ingham right now. They're trying to get you sticks. They said this vehicle is involved in a retail fraud out of Dix and Oakland earlier.
Up on the shoulder, Fowlerville. Trying to get back on the expressway. You're back up on the expressway.
Yeah, we're up on the shoulder now, back on the expressway as we get too far.
Looks like we're accident off at 104. Exit 104, getting off.
Anything at 104, getting off at 1706. I'm starting to approach another intersection.
Just head on the another car on Jolly.
All 5 inside the SUV were arrested, including the 19-year-old driver and a 15-year-old already wanted by juvenile authorities. Another passenger, out on bond from a separate case, went straight back to jail. 2 others fled on foot and are still being tracked down. Somehow no one was seriously hurt. But between the stolen vehicle, the wrecked cars, the thrown guns, and 5 teens tangled in felony charges, it's safe to say this ride ended far worse than it started. Stolen cars don't usually return to the spotlight with a grand entrance, but this one nearly did. On November 5, 2024, troopers were tracking a blue Mitsubishi reported stolen when it came speeding off Richview Road onto Appalachie Parkway, right in front of responding units. With sirens already active, a trooper moved in to make the stop, but the driver had no plans of pulling over. Instead, he crossed into oncoming lanes at full speed, barely missing another vehicle. At that point, the chase became less about where he was going and more about keeping anyone from getting hurt.
Better stop. Let me get hit.
Better stop. Show me your head. Show me your head.
The driver tried to bail out, but there was nowhere to go. With the car wedged in place and backup arriving fast, officers pulled him from the vehicle and got him into cuffs. The driver, Antoine Jones, was arrested for grand theft auto and fleeing. He was taken to the hospital for a checkup, then booked into the Leon County Jail, after what was one of the most beautiful pits executed by FHP.
Turn the car off. Don't even do it. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Put the keys on top of the car.
Some traffic stops don't feel right from the start. When Trooper Price pulled up behind a gray Mercedes on February 22, 2025, it had already caught his attention for lingering in the left lane and holding up traffic. But it wasn't just a minor violation. As soon as the trooper stepped out, the driver, later identified as Dominic Copenhaver, looked back in the mirror and made his choice. He hit the gas.
I'm catching up. I've got the TV on.
Copenhaver was taken into custody and booked into Pulaski County. The list of charges was long: felony fleeing, reckless driving, and driving on a revoked license, among others. Turns out, he wasn't just running from a ticket. Copenhaver was already wanted in Maryland for assault and had a history spanning several states. Armed, dangerous, and on the run, he drove across state lines trying to stay ahead. But in the end, he didn't get far.
Speed's 120 like traffic. You can tell it's not the road.
There's recklessness, and then there's launching a police chase with passengers, a firearm, and a Jeep Cherokee that apparently had nothing left to lose. It was just before 10 p.m. on March 7th when a state trooper tried pulling the SUV over near the Capitol Beltway. The driver, later identified as 23-year-old Jevon Mark from Reston, had other plans. Instead of stopping, he hit the gas. What followed wasn't just fast, it got creative. At one point, someone inside the Jeep tossed a gun out the window, which bounced off the pavement and hit the trooper's car. Not exactly a subtle move.
130 just blacked out. I'm not sure why, but we're still going to Braddock speeds 130. Going west, going west.
Stay far west from Braddock.
Get it up. Alright, he just lost it, he's regaining.
Stay more.
Yeah, I've got the radio. Passing Fort Royal, moderate traffic, 83.
Over.
Just past Fort Royal, coming up on Queensberry, speed 75, light traffic.
Over.
I believe he just threw a firearm out. He just struck my vehicle with a firearm. I'm pretty sure. Speed's 100.
Coming over from there.
I've got the radio now, back with you. We're coming up on the office here in a second. If you got the stop sticks out, get them out. Alright, Alright, he's spinning around here, making a U-turn back on 495, U-turn back on back towards 495.
U-turn back on 495.
He just struck my vehicle. Stand by.
Short flag.
I will shoot you right now. I will shoot you.
Jevon was taken into custody, while the two passengers were briefly detained and later released. Police recovered the tossed gun, and Jevon now faces a long list of charges: assault on a law enforcement officer, reckless driving, felony hit and run, and yes, throwing missiles, which is apparently still a thing. Attempted murder charges also surfaced, making it clear this wasn't a joyride. The only thing that stopped this chase was the driver's own crash course in consequences. When a green Chevy pickup rolled through Dardanelle on April 8, 2025, what started as a stop for defective equipment quickly turned into something bigger. Officers spotted a passenger tossing suspected drugs from the window, and just like that, the truck took off. As it sped south down Highway 7, multiple departments joined in, coordinating ahead with spike strips that caught the tires near Ola. But even after hitting the spikes, the truck kept pushing, rolling into city limits with officers closing in.
800 dispatch. He's going to hit on all four tires, what it looked like.
Stage primary. 13 call.
We're east on North 2nd Street. Close to all units. That will be direct. That will be direct. Passing Gold Street on 2nd Street. Attempted TBI. TBI. Tempted.
You better fucking stay there. You ain't gotta hit me, man. You ain't gotta fucking, goddamn, you ain't gotta hit me. Why you hit me for? I ain't do nothing. I ain't do nothing to hit you. Man, you ain't gotta fucking hit.
The driver, 60-year-old Craig Sebastian, decided that sprinting away from Arkansas State Police was his next best move. Not surprisingly, it wasn't. He was quickly tackled and cuffed. His passenger gave up without a fight and was cited for littering. Meanwhile, Sebastian racked up a pile of charges, from fleeing to reckless driving and more. You'd think at that age he'd know better than to try a foot race with troopers, but apparently, bad ideas don't retire. When a Dodge Charger flies past you at nearly 150 miles an hour, you don't really need a radar gun to know something's not right. That's exactly what caught the eye of troopers late morning on April 29, 2024. The car wasn't just speeding, it was slicing through traffic, swerving across lanes, using the shoulder to pass, and showing no sign of slowing down. Inside were 3 people, and the driver, later identified as Tavion Lajuan Robinson, who was clearly committed to not pulling over.
Get out the car! Get out the car! That's him right there? Get out the fucking car. Get on the ground or you're gonna get tased. Get on the ground or you're gonna get tased.
Robinson climbed over his passenger and ran, while another man jumped out from the back seat. They both took off on foot, splitting up. A perimeter was set, and with the help of a K-9 unit, troopers found Robinson hiding in a trash can a few blocks away. He was taken into custody without further incident. A high-speed run brought to an end by bad luck and a garbage lid. Sometimes it's not just the speed, it's how obvious someone makes themselves. On December 17, 2023, a loud exhaust caught the attention of an FHP trooper just as he was getting back into his patrol car. A light gray Dodge Charger was moving westbound, pushing ahead of another Charger at the light. It wasn't hard to spot once it opened up. Even without lights or sirens, the trooper reached speeds of 140 trying to keep pace. The Charger ran a red, nearly collided with traffic, and then crossed into oncoming lanes, making it clear the driver had no interest in stopping. The driver, later identified as Jalen Davis, ran through several backyards before being found hiding behind a home. His driving put people at risk, but it was methodical police work that shut it down, not luck. Davis was charged with burglary, fleeing, reckless driving, and hit and run, among others. He had no license, but he had the keys to the Charger in his pocket and nowhere else to go. That's it for today's video, and if you liked it, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.